Okay. So it's worthwhile, it's important that we build positive relationships. Okay? Especially between teachers and students. Number one, because by building relationships, we foster trust. We develop trust. Strong teacher-student relationships are built on trust and mutual respect. And with that, pag may trust between the students and the teachers, uy, the students will feel safe. It will be a supportive learning environment. And yeah, with that, learning will take place better. That's why in my seminars for class advisors, for example, I emphasize the need for the first days of the school year, spend a lot of time building team spirit, friendship, camaraderie, getting to know each other. It is not a waste of time. Okay? Kasi marami akong alam na eskwelahan, ang feeling nila, high standard. Pag day one pa lang, get straight into the lesson, get straight into the assignment, into the subject matter. Uy, teka muna. Tao ang mga bata, and like any human beings, they need to feel safe and secure. So I wouldn't even exaggerate. I'm not even exaggerating when I say day one, day two, and day three. It's okay to spend time, even all the time in those first 2 or 3 days, just creating team spirit, team building, getting to know each other, um, getting them to um, how do you call this? Get themselves be known by their classmates. As we teachers also have to get ourselves be known by our students. In fact, I would even tell teachers, administrators, day one of the school year, dapat piyesta ang atmosphere ng eskwelahan. Piyesta because you are happy to see the students back in school. You're happy to see students coming to your school and not transferring to another school. That's sa dami-dami ng kanilang pagpipilian na pwedeng i-enroll ang kanilang anak sa inyo. Sa inyo in-enroll. And students on day one should go home excitedly telling their parents, Mom, Dad, thank you for putting me in this school. I'm in the best school. I have so many friends on day one. The teacher is very kind, very welcoming, very nice. I want to stay in that school. No student should ever go home on day one telling their parents, ba't kasi dun mo ko in-enroll? Lipat mo na ako, hanap tayo ng... I mean, when I tell teachers, especially now, uy, dapat marketing mode tayo. Yun ang ibig sabihin nun. The teachers have to be conscious of the fact that, uy, kailangan nating kumbinsihin ang ating mga estudyante na masaya sila sa eskwelahan natin, na gusto nila dun sa eskwelahan natin. We all have to contribute to that. So, there's going to be a relationship. We will be able to build a relationship if there is trust. And so we have to foster it. And if there is relationship, that the students feel secure, the students are happy to be inside the classroom, they will want to learn more than being in a place where they are afraid of being bullied. They don't feel welcome. They don't feel they belong. When students feel cared for, they are more likely to be engaged, to be motivated, and to be receptive to instruction. In other words, academic achievement will follow if they feel good about being in our school. And the only way we can make that happen is if there is a relationship. So that's very important. Moreover, that's the only way we can help them grow as a person, as a man or woman of character. Importante that we build relationships between the teacher and the students. And then, here's the other one. More likely that the young people will copy your good actions, your virtues, your values. If there is a relationship, that's the only way that modeling can happen. That students will look up to us as someone they would like to be when they grow up. Di ba, nung bata tayo, lagi nating sinasabi yun eh. Paglaki ko, sana maging katulad ako ni ma'am, ni sir. Not necessarily teachers, but the kind of respectability, the kind of professionalism, the kind of venerability. Di ba? May mga teachers na nagkaroon tayo ng ganong klaseng teachers. We practically revered them, not venerated like a santo, but we looked up to them. And then we even said, ang galing. Ang galing ni ma'am, ang galing ni sir. Gusto ko rin yun. Gusto ko yung ganong klaseng character. So, that can happen. Relationship building for all needs to be an authentic, intentional, and strategic focus of the school. Now, I mentioned all kasi sa authentic, intentional, strategic focus for all. We have to build the relationships for all. Now, let's admit it, minsan meron tayong estudyante na mahirap mahalin, na ang hirap to build a relationship with. In fact, I'm sure na-experience nyo na, pasok ka ng classroom, tingin-tingin ka, and then sasabihin, uy, absent, absent si Jan. Thank you, Lord. Today is going to be a great day. Kasi alam mo, si Jan is capable of the defiance, disobedient, pasaway, kailangan tawagin ng attention so many times. But no, here's what this principle about building relationships. Here's the principle. It has to be for everyone. We cannot have favorites. We cannot play favorites. In the first place, for example, we have to build relationships among all the adults in the school. The students should have, or should, all the adults in the school should try to build relationships with all the students, including the lady selling in the cafeteria, having relationship of friendship, of professionalism, of service. The security guard, the janitor, the maintenance man. Di ba, minsan alumni homecoming, students come back, ang hinahanap nila yung security guard. Andito pa ba si Mang Julian? Andito pa ba the janitors? Andito pa ba si Kuya so and so? Ay, ang galing. That means those non-teaching staff managed to build relationships. A kind of relationship na respeto nila, respetado nila yung mga yon. Now, there are some students who are harder to reach out to for one reason or another, but they too, we have to find a way of building relationships with children with emotional challenges or who are merely shy or different. Children with low self-esteem, with the children of trauma. Sadly, meron tayong ganyan sa classroom. Even sometimes, students on the verge of depression or even of considering suicide. It's tragic, it's sad, but ganun kakomplikado ang maraming kabataan ngayon. Children with unhealthy attachment histories. newcomers to the school. That's why one of the strategies I teach when I give session to class advisors is how to welcome new students inside the classroom. Those new students have to be oriented well, and they have to be able to gain many friends on day one. Otherwise, as you and I also may have personally um, experienced, it's so painful to be an outsider. Ang sakit to be in a group and you do not belong. You don't feel you belong. It's very painful. And sometimes it can happen after 1 week, sasabihin ng estudyante sa nanay niya, balik na lang ako, Nay, dun sa pinanggalingan ng school. Lipat na lang ako. We have to have a very good um, way, creative and fun and exciting way of welcoming new students. The old students being at the forefront of creating a welcoming atmosphere for the young ones. And those in the school who most frequently are marginalized, such as the non-professional. Non-professional meaning to say non-academic. They are not teaching any subject, but they are very important too. Staff, school, cooks, secretaries, custodians, etc. That's the only way we can build relationships. If we start seeing every single student as someone we have to connect with, we have to reach out to. Because students don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. So, one of the crucial elements, of course, is communication. Here are some communication techniques for effective classroom management. Make sure maliwanag ang ating lengguwahe. Clear, concise language when giving instructions and expectations. Importante to especially in orientations. For teachers, the inset training seminars, the preparation, the seminars that we give them to prepare for the new school year, we have to be able to transmit, especially to new teachers, very clearly our core values, what we stand for as a school, ano ang expectation natin sa ating mga teachers, ano ang gusto nating gawin ng mga teachers sa ating mga estudyante, that we are a school of character, we are not just teaching textbooks, teaching subjects. We are raising young people to be good men and women of character. Active listening, something that we now teachers have to learn how to do. Active listening to understand students' needs and concerns. Alam mo yung listening to understand kung anong sasabihin natin. Teka muna, itabi muna natin yung kung anong sasabihin natin. Let's just first listen to really know and understand the person talking to us. Actively listening with questions to clarify whatever needs to be clarified. That's part of communication as well. And then, to encourage open dialogue and two-way communication with students. Students should know that they can speak with you outside of the classroom. And yes, even about matters that have nothing to do with your subject matter. Because that is when real relationship happens, when they go out of their way to open up to you or to ask you for advice because they see that you have the gravitas, the gravity, the maturity, the venerability na sinabi natin kanina, respectability of a mature adult that they can count on, that they can run to for anything. There has got to be that. Kaya medyo mahirap maging exceptional teacher kung part-time teacher ka na the only opportunity you can have to be with the students is inside the classroom dadating ka for your class, and then you have to go out na. You have to leave. You have to go somewhere else. And then there are no opportunities for the students to ask you questions, ask you for clarifications, or even just to get to know you. Now, as I said, mahirap, pero hindi imposible. Even part-time teachers should find ways of being able to build relationships. And one of the things we are able to do that is let the students know you beyond the subject matter that you are teaching, to get to know you, your values, your beliefs, what you stand for. And those things can come out in the way you introduce yourself to them, as well as in the way you carry yourself every single day that you go inside the classroom to be with them. And then, for us to give timely and constructive feedback to help students improve. Let's get on. I mentioned many generalities. Now we will get into concrete things. For example, sabi natin kanina, trust is very important. We need to establish trust and rapport with our students. And that will be very crucial for their academic and social emotional success. When we create an environment of mutual respect and open communication, teachers can foster a sense of belonging and then encourage students to take risks in their learning. So, maraming pwedeng gawin, ano? Active listening, offering genuine praise, learning about students' interests and backgrounds, as well as what I just finished talking about, letting also yourself be known. Don't be afraid to be known by your students. I mean, be known in the sense of, yeah, talk to them about the college degree that you finished. Why not? They should know. Pag pupunta ka ng opisina ng lawyer, tapos paghihintayin ka sa waiting room kasi marami siyang kliyente, anong makikita mo sa waiting room? Sa dun sa ano, parang kasama mo yung secretary kasi yung secretary will tell you, sir, you can come in now. Pero habang naghihintay ka doon, abay naka-display yung kanyang mga diploma, yung kanyang mga certificates of appreciation for having been a speaker in this or that. May diplomate, yan. Di ba? Para bang hindi mo pa nakakausap yung lawyer, pinapakilala niya na yung sarili niya sa iyo, assuring you that he knows what he's doing. Kung magkano man ang babayaran mo sa kanya, sulit yon because he is a professional. When you go to a doctor's office, a doctor's clinic, habang naghihintay ka for your turn, nakaupo ka doon kasama ng secretary, ano ang makikita mo? Ganun din, diploma niya, certificates, trophies, plaques of appreciation. Pag pupunta ka sa dentista, habang naghihintay ka for your turn, ganun din makikita mo. Pero sa loob ng classroom, bakit hindi naka-display ang diploma ni ma'am? Ang certificate niya na nag-attend siya ng international seminar on character formation. Bakit hindi doon naka-display? Why not? Let yourselves be known to the students so that you assure them, listen to me because I know what I'm doing. I'm a professional. I have been trained. I have a diploma. I have a certificate. I'm even an awardee in the school. That is how we get ourselves be known. Or we talk to them about ourselves. We talk to them about our family. Every so often, we mention this or that about ourselves, and we are not afraid so that they know, uy, tao din pala itong si ma'am. Tao din pala itong si sir. Hindi siya, robot. Then we are going to establish trust and rapport with our students, just as we try to get to know them. Ilan kayo sa pamilya nyo? Ikailan ka? What are your hobbies? What are your interests? That's why on day one, that's what I would do with my students in grade 4 in Southridge. in first year college in UANP, in grade 7 in Bannister Academy, lahat ng mga eskwelahan na pinagturuan ko, the first day I meet my students, I make them fill up a form where I can get to know how many are you in the family? Are you the youngest? Are you the oldest? What are your hobbies? What are your interests? Did you receive awards in the past years? How about your parents? I need to get to know them because for education to be effective, it must be personal. Relationships are the molecules from which we build both great schools and good character. Therefore, we have to nurture those relationships strategically and intentionally. Here are some bases, plural ng basis. Paano tayo magkakaroon ng healthy relationship? Sabi ng experts, here are things that set the tone or set the stage for healthy relationship to happen. Number one, when the two parties listen to each other, you're building a relationship. There's a basis for healthy relationship to happen. And that's why we listen to the students as we expect them to listen to us. And when that happens, then you can expect healthy relationship to happen. I hear students complaining, Sir, alam mo, yung teacher namin, hindi naman nakikinig sa amin eh. Nagrereklamo kami, ang hirap-hirap ng subject, hindi naman kami pinapakinggan eh. Kaya kalahati ng class bagsak. When the students start feeling like they are not listened to, mahirap. Mahirap magkaroon ng healthy relationship. Mahirap magkaroon ng trust, especially if they think you don't listen. You don't know how to listen. I mean, kahit naman tayo eh, gusto nating marinig tayo, ang boses natin. And once we feel na parang hindi tayo pinapakinggan, ay, one is, we as professionals, kahit tayo eh, apektado yung trabaho natin. Pag iniisip natin na my supervisor, my principal, my coordinator, they don't care about what I'm feeling, they don't listen to me, you start having problems. Especially so, yung trust, parang kalawangin, kinakalawang. And it's very difficult to move on. It's not very easy to progress, to grow, to become better and better in what we do. And sadly, sometimes what happens is a teacher will think, wala na akong pakialam dun sa boss ko. I know better how to do this work. Bahala na sila. And I've seen that. And yeah, sometimes it can happen. Ay, oo nga, ang galing ng trabaho niya kahit hindi siya nakikinig dun sa sinasabi ng boss. Pero it's not going to be perfect. There comes a time when, or there comes a point when, because of that lack of unity with the supervisor, with a principal, with a coordinator, it will crash. It will come crashing down like deck of cards. And then the school will have to let go of a good teacher. Sasabihin nila, galing niya sana magturo, pero pasaway, sakit ng ulo, does not follow school policies. Ang galing sana magturo. I have seen it personally when I served as principal of intermediate school, vice principal of high school, when I served as director of a school in Iloilo, when I served as personal formation director of Bannister Academy. I've seen that where at a certain point, a teacher, kahit anong galing niyang magturo, pero kung hindi siya loyal and does not stand for what the school values or is not perfectly united with what the school stands for, sabihin ng mga administrators, patapusin na lang natin yung school year. Hindi siya pwede dito. Hindi siya bagay dito. He can be a spectacular teacher in another place but not here. So, that's a basis one basis for healthy relationship to happen when people listen to each other. When students listen to the teachers and teachers listen to the students. And then learning about each other. That's another very important basis kung paano magkakaroon ng healthy relationship. And then, believe it or not, magkakaroon ng healthy relationship if they have fun experiences together. They enjoy working on projects. The teachers and the students enjoy setting up the play, the exhibit, the performance, the putting up the fair together as a class. When they have fun experiences together, you can be sure healthy relationship can happen, is happening. After all, school, the word school comes from the Greek word schole, which means leisure. Students should love going to school because it's fun. I mean, yun ang sinasabi natin nung bata tayo. School is so much fun. High school, it still has to be fun. And the teachers have to find a way that the students feel empowered, feel they are listened to, even in high school, even in college, and even all the way down, especially all the way down to preschool. Among you teachers who are handling really young kids, you have to make the place fun for them, for the kids, because that is another basis for the healthy relationship to happen. Here's another one. Simply working together by itself is a basis for healthy relationship to happen. If you don't work together, then, and sadly, it can happen. Yung teacher na para bang one chapter ahead lang siya sa mga bata sa textbook and does not go outside of the textbook. May ganun, di ba? Tapos ang iisipin ng mga bata, bakit pa tayo nag-attend ng class? Nandito naman lahat sa textbook. Mas naintindihan ko pa nga kung binasa ko on my own. No, there's got to be a lot of collaboration, working together. Teachers working with the students, students working with each other. And then I'm going to show you another type of collaboration. So first, students working, collaborating with each other. Actively involve the students in decision-making and class activities. Encourage them to share their ideas and perspectives to foster a sense of ownership and investment in their learning. Colleague collaboration. Ma'am, sir, collaborate with each other. Learn from the master teachers in your own schools. Sit in the class of your senior teachers and observe, what does he do? Bakit disiplinado yung class? How come isang tingin niya lang sa class, kaya niyang patahimikin yung mga estudyante? What does he do? What does she do? Share best practices among yourselves. I mentioned that last week as one of the best faculty development seminars or sessions you can organize. No need to invite speakers from outside. Just among yourselves, share best practices or discuss among yourselves concerns that are common. Bakit parang ang dami nating absentee students? Let the teachers collaborate with each other in analyzing what seems to be the problem, what's at the root of the problem, and then collaborating with each other to come out with possible solutions. Here's another one. A benchmark of a great school is its effort to reach out to the parents. Parents are not enemies. Because I've seen it. I've visited so many schools around the Philippines, and sometimes I meet faculty like that, teachers, administrators, who talk about the parents like as if kalaban, people in the other side of the fence, kaaway. Now, okay, I understand. I've been a teacher for more than 30 years. Minsan, talagang may mga magulang na ang hirap pakisamahan or na nakikialam. um, you've experienced that? Pag bumabagsak yung isang bata, aba, lulusob yung nanay. Hahanapin yung teacher. Tapos sasabihin sa teacher, ma'am, can you explain why my son failed? Aba, teka muna, ma'am. Ba't akong pinapa-explain mo? Tanong niyo yung anak niyo, nag-aaral ba siya? Anong nahihirapan ba siya? Kailangan niya ba ng tutor? I mean, shouldn't you be first talking to your son? Bakit There are parents who are like that, na pagka ang kanilang anak ay bumabagsak, sisisihin ang teacher, ang principal, ang DepEd, ang curriculum, ang Pilipinas. I mean, lahat sisisihin except their beloved child. Now, okay, may mga ganun. But generally, parents are our collaborators, especially in forming character. Kasi nga, dapat natutunan na ng mga kabataan ang values, virtues, courtesy, kindness at home bago sila pumasok ng eskwelahan. So, we have to get the parents to collaborate with us in forming the character of their children. Hindi sila kaaway. Partners natin sila. In fact, tayo lang ang tumutulong sa kanila. But they really are the ones who are supposed to form the character. Therefore, how do we collaborate with the parents? Number one, dapat there is open communication. It should be easy for parents to communicate with us if they have any concern. As it should also be easy for us to communicate with them if there is something we need to transmit to them through a memo, through a letter, through an email. Nabanggit kong email. That's the question you have to ask. Meron ka bang email address ng mga parents mo? Did you make sure that email address in your record is updated so that you can easily pass on communication to them, to let them know that we are now in the last stretch of the school year? Parents, please help your sons, your daughters prepare for the final exams. Meaning to say, ma'am, Mrs. So and so, wag kayong schedule ng Boracay nitong long weekend. May exam tayo. Yung mga bata dapat naghahanda para doon. That's how we get them to collaborate. It's not about just parents, mag-donate naman kayo sa funds ng nagpapagawa kami ng basketball court. Okay, yung mga parents pwedeng tumulong sa mga ganong bagay, but first and foremost, the collaboration, the support, the partnership that we need from the parents is that they give their kids at home the same values, virtues that we are trying to push in school. The same virtue of the month that we are reminding constantly the students about, dapat alam ng parents din yon, and that they are also pushing the same virtue, the same value. So, we have to have that open communication and then be able to get to know our students better through the parents. Bakit bagsak ng bagsak lagi yung anak ninyo, ma'am? Kausapin natin ang parents. Baka may problema sa bahay. Kasi alam mo, Mr. Antoy, hindi kasi talaga makapag-aral ang anak namin dahil iniwan kami ng tatay niya. Umalis na. I mean, it happens. So, we have to collaborate with the parents. We have to partner with them. I mentioned earlier about marketing mode that we teachers have to do our part. We have to put in our share of the effort to retain the students, that they don't transfer to another school, that we don't lose them. Kasi kahit paano, kailangan natin ng enrollment. Let me show you some headlines of these past months. Sabi nitong report, 425 private schools closed since 2020. 1,600 private schools shut down. Sabi ni Secretary Duterte, we saw the decline of enrollment figures in private schools and eventually saw some private schools terminating their operations. Sabi nitong Vatican News, over 700 Catholic schools shut down, closed down after the pandemic. At least 860 out of 14,000 private schools have shut their doors permanently in the Philippines. And many of them, kasi walang pera, hindi nag-survive. Walang deficitary. Tapos yung nakikita pa natin ngayon, private schools bleed with exodus of students and teachers into public education. Hindi ito panahon ng, alam mo, kasi let's look back to our days as students. Nagkaroon tayo ng ganong klaseng teacher, yung mga mayabang, arrogante, diva. Parang hindi pwede ngayon ganyan. Hindi na pwede. Yung bugnutin, suplada, terror, hindi na pwede. Hindi na pwede. We have been hired by the school that we're working for now. Part of what we signed up for, part of our loyalty, commitment, contract is that we give that school that is paying us, has employed us, a good name. Yun ang ibig sabihin natin kanina na all the teachers now have to be on a marketing mode. We all have to be conscious of making sure that the students in our school now will not want to leave, will not want to transfer, will not want to move to any other school. And then that the students will go home thinking that this is the best school for me. Because I feel welcome, because my teachers build relationships with me. They are not just after me passing a subject. The school really wants me to be successful as a human being in life. So, in the first place, if you're going to build relationships, abay di dapat ang environment positive, hindi negative, hindi nakakatakot, hindi terrorizing, hindi or yung laissez-faire. Wala naman pakialam mga teachers dyan eh. They don't care whether you learn or not. Or kung babagsak ka o hindi, bahala ka sa buhay mo. How do we make sure there is positive classroom environment? Number one, establishing routines. Pinag-usapan natin ito when we were talking about stop disciplining and start managing. How? Procedures that we teach them and we rehearse with them until they become routines. Because when things are, when you establish routines, consistent schedule, consistent procedures, magkakaroon ng stability and security. Alam ng mga estudyante what to expect. There are no surprises. They know exactly how they are expected to behave because research says students are more likely to do what you want them to do if they know what your procedures are, what you expect them to do. They're not guessing. Ano kayang gustong pagawa sa atin ng teacher? They know how you start the class, how you end the class. They know exactly how you want them to submit papers, how to do exams. All those have become routinary. How to fall in line in an assembly, how to go for an activity in the auditorium, routines. Number two, and this already has been mentioned, dapat positive lagi ang environment. The climate of the school has got to be one of kindness, caring, welcoming, positivity. Moreover, with that, mangyayari yung tinatawag nating growth mindset. There is celebration of achievements, of successes. And then you build a culture of empowerment. And the number three, well, I already mentioned this kanina, kahit tayo, we feel bad if we are in a group and we don't feel like we belong. It's very painful. But if they are respected, valued, connected, kasi may relationship eh. We have built a relationship. They are not just class numbers. Then you can be sure it's a positive classroom environment. Okay, so those are the three. Very important that we work deliberately, even systematically, on fostering a positive classroom environment. It's essential for learning and overall well-being. Mas matututo ang mga bata. Moreover, pag positive ang classroom environment, I tell you, it's less tiring for the teachers, less toxic for the teachers. And you actually can end your day without feeling tired and exhausted and exasperated. Yeah. If the environment in the classroom is positive. Relationships are critical to our well-being, and our well-being is critical to our success in life, including in school. Okay, I have last 13 minutes before we... So just to give you some examples of collaborative learning experiences. Kasi 'di ba? Kasi kanina sabi natin, belonging, team spirit, paulit-ulit yung idea na yon. There can be relationship if you give them opportunities to work together, to collaborate together. As we adults collaborate with each other, learning from each other, as we adults collaborate with the parents so that we push the cart along the same direction. No. How about the students? Here are different strategies, ways by which we can cultivate collaborative learning experiences. First, peer learning, paired discussion. Group yourselves into 5 and you are going to discuss this question. And then at the end, we are going to ask questions. Or, okay, I'm going to group you into 4s. 4 ang members ng group. Bakit 4, sir? Kasi I'm going to give you questions. 1 will report. Siya yung narrator. 1 will submit a written version of what you come up with. 1 will answer questions. And then 1 will make the presentation in a PowerPoint of the summary of what you... In other words, naglagay ka ng 4 na members, but each one has a concrete output or role to play. Don't ever do what happens in some other schools. Sasabihin mo, okay, count 1 to 5, all the 1s together, all the 2s together, and then there are 5 members in every group. Here's the instruction, produce a diorama. Yan. Submission next week. And then you don't see them working. And in the end, in fact, isa lang ang nagtrabaho. Tapos dadating siya for submission and all of them get the same grade. Pero isa lang ang nagtrabaho. That's not group work. That's an abuse of the sense of group work. And we should stop anything like that. We should never, ever allow anything like that to happen in our school. Where group work, isa lang ang gumawa, pero lahat sila pare-parehong grades. Anong basis mo ng grade na yun? That cannot be done. That's not cooperative learning. Cooperative learning is they will work as a group, but each one has a concrete task to fulfill or to a role to play. So, peer learning, learning from each other, through discussions, through teaching one another. Even better, what we gave before as an example, may class buddy, grade 5 class, teaching students in grade 3 a specific lesson, a specific skill, and you're going to do it inside the classroom, in the gymnasium. You see the older students teaching the younger ones. Peer learning. Here's another one, project-based collaboration. Even better, interdisciplinary. We used to do this in Southridge when we would have students going to Naga to attend the fluvial procession of Peñafrancia. But while they spend 4 days there, may outputs bawat subject. They are going to submit sa math subject nila an accounting of the expenses. They will have to produce the financial report. For Filipino, they will be teaching kids in Balatas Basura dump site. Magtuturo sila ng catechism doon, magtuturo sila ng math, they will spend 1 day with the kids. That's part of the Filipino output. Tapos, meron silang isusulat na reflection paper to be submitted for the English class. Tapos, yung sa social studies, they have to interview some parents. So, interdisciplinary, but the outputs are all addressing different skills, and they're going to be all working together in coming up with all these final outputs. Project-based collaboration, interdisciplinary, working as a team, doing different activities, but the outputs are very clear. Digital collaborations, ang dami-dami ngayong mga websites or apps na pwedeng gamitin ng mga estudyante where they do group collaborative output online. And I'm not just talking of Google Drive, Google Docs, or Google Sheets, or Google Forms. There are so many. We have to explore all these that are available for them. Structured teamwork. Because, sabi natin last week, in real life, no one is going to work alone. We all work in a team, in a department, in a faculty, in a unit, in a company. We might as well teach them working with others, teamwork, and being able to collaborate with each other. All these are possible ways of cultivating collaborative learning experiences. Let me skip some slides. We need to build relationships, especially so because ang dami nating nakikitang problema in the environment that the young people are growing up in this particular generation that the young people belong to. We talked about a number of these in the previous sessions. Instant gratification mindset, self-entitlement. Kasi ganun yung mundo, fostering their self-centeredness, vanity, sarili lang ang iniisip. Kaya they become very strong in self-entitlement. We have to get them out of that shell of being mapansarili and start going out and thinking about others, about community, about collaborating with their classmates and friends for the common good, for something that will benefit not just themselves, but other people. We need to build relationships because ang tawag ng ibang researchers dito sa generation na to is the snowflake generation. People who are less resilient, easily offended, tapos kailangan politically correct, no? I mean, even in the language, we are not supposed to use prisoner. Masyadong derogatory. Dapat person deprived of liberty. Talaga naman, ano? Why? What's wrong with prisoner? Totoo naman nakakulong. Anong magagawa natin? But that's how it is. That is how the world is in right now. Para bang even our language, we have to be very, very careful. This generation is very sensitive. Hindi pwedeng, ay, pandak, maliit. That's offensive. Dapat vertically challenged yan. Na, bingi ba? No, 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 don't say that. Hearing impaired, yan. Drug addict? Excuse me, that's derogatory. Dapat person with chemical dependency. Poor, mahirap? Ay, no, no, no. Economically marginalized. Yan. Pangit, ugly. Uy, nako, masama yan. You have to say visually unfavorable. I mean, it's absurd, but that is the kind of generation that we're dealing with right now. Kailangan natin intindihin sila. And even worse, we've been talking the past two meetings about this mental health, depression, and unfortunately, some people, not just young, have started weaponizing mental health. Alam niyo yung narinig mo na yung estudyante sasabihin sa'yo, Sir, hindi mo ako pwedeng ibagsak ha, depressed ako. Baka kung ano pang magawa ko pag binagsak niyo ako. Threatening you, I will commit suicide if you fail me. Ba? Teka muna, ano? Bakit ganun? O kaya, I said kanina, hindi lang bata, hindi lang mga bata. Um, even some adults are beginning to use this. I heard this, a teacher telling the principal, Ma'am, you cannot fire me for being absent. I have mental health issues. I'm going through depression. So ano yun? Bawal kang magdisiplina ng ano? Ng teacher? I mean, you cannot put in you cannot implement the school policies about absenteeism simply because sabi niya depressed siya? I mean, may mental health. Anong tawag doon? Is that emotional blackmail? I don't know, but it's happening everywhere. The weaponization of mental health. And then itong correcting them, yung reprimanding them, uy, para bang you cannot reprimand them. When you correct them, it's like, uy, para kang naglalakad sa mga ayan, eggshells. You have to be very, 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 very careful about your language, about your how you say it. Kasi that's the kind of world that the young people are growing up in now more than ever. The young people need us. They need us to build relationships, to mold minds, to form character. Hindi natin sila madadala sa shouting, screaming, yelling. Stop disciplining and start managing. How do we do this? What do we do? Let me go very quickly over the 5 design principles. We need to prioritize character formation. We need to make as priority in the formation of your teachers, in the training of your teachers, prioritize ninyo how to make the teachers conscious of teaching for character, conscious of molding minds, forming character, shaping the values and virtues of the students. Hindi lang para makapasa ng subject, para makapasa ng school year, but we have to find a way of making the teachers think that way. I am not just here to cover the curriculum. I'm here to form character. Letter R, relationships, which is what this session has been all about today. In the end, we will build a relationship if what we do, whatever we do as teachers, we do out of love, for the love of the students, for the love of teaching, for the love of learning, and 4 ways to show love: affirmation, time, communication, sacrifice. Here's letter I. This is prime, by the way, PRIME, intrinsic motivation, that the young people will do good, not because you threaten them with punishment, not because you're offering a reward, not because of rules, but because you empower them, you build relationships with them. Letter M, modeling, and I have repeatedly given this over and over again. The only effective way to teach character is through the example of our life. Be a strong moral example because, sabi natin last week, values are caught, not taught. character solution, in other words. Letter E, by the way, is empowerment. We have to empower the students. We have to empower the teachers as well, as we also need to empower the parents. Well, we've run out of time. We end. How the world will be in the future will depend on how we prepare your students now. The future is in our hands because itong mga kabataan ngayon na nasa loob ng classroom natin, they're the ones who are going to create the kind of Philippine society we're going to have in the future. Therefore, we do everything we can now to make sure they are formed, that we help them to be the best human beings they can possibly be. And we can do that when we teach for character. Okay, thank you so much. I am now going to type in the chat box the link for today. To claim your certificate, please click on the link that I posted in the chat box, and we'll wait for some to fill up the form and to receive the certificate. And once you receive your certificate in the inbox, please tell us if you have received it in your inbox. Okay. Let's give people time to click on the link. Those who are attending in a classroom and therefore do not have access to the, you can take a picture or you can request your coordinator to cut and paste and pass on to you the link so that you can claim your certificate later. Thank you, Charlie. Thank you. Charlie received his certificate already. Teacher Hazel got her certificate already. So that means the link is working. Jonar Manaog, you're welcome. Okay, fantastic. So it seems everyone, yeah, so many people. Mike, see, Idol Mike already got his. Okay, I invite you to turn on your video for our pictorials, mandatory graduation pictorials. By the way, if your principal, for example, asks you for a proof of your attendance, you can access the screenshots of the pictures in my Facebook page. You can search it Man Rentoy or yeah, Man Rentoy, and you can click on the how do you call that, the photos of the screenshots of the different sessions. Let me just first turn off recording.